Free-to-play money making is rough. If you aren't able to buy a bond, I want to at least make your grind to getting your first one bearable. Currently, bonds are over 8 million GP per one, so you're going to have quite the journey to get one, and that's why I'm making this video. I previously made a free-to-play money making guide over a year ago, but since the economy is always changing, I wanted to make an updated one with more accurate prices as well as new methods. If this helps you in any way, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's just get right into it. The first method is making pie shells, which sounds about as free to play as it can get. This is making a return from last year and is currently residing around 300k GP per hour. It's important to remember by the time you're watching this, it's most likely gone either up in price or down depending on the economy, so always check for each method before you commit to it. All you do for making pie shells is buy 14 pastry dough, 14 pie dishes, use them on each other, and then after you make them all into pie shells, you're done. The problem here is the buy limit for pie dishes is really low at only 500. You're going to need to do about 2,000 of these in a single hour to make that 300k. So if you ever plan on doing this method, I would recommend putting in a giant order for pie dishes so you can make sure you have all of them available when you go to actually make the pie shells. Other than that, there's no experience gained or anything else, so this method is just alright, though it is quite high for money making terms. Next up is going to be crafting. There's several different methods involving crafting, so I decided to condense them all into one spot as opposed to stretching out the video wasting your time. All of these methods involve using the Edgeville furnace to create different types of jewelry to sell. The highest method currently among these is crafting unstrung ruby amulets. All you do for this is take 13 gold bars, 13 rubies, and an amulet mold, use them on the furnace and AFK as you create an inventory of amulets, bank, and repeat. Not only is this coming in at around 260k GP per hour, you additionally make up to 100k crafting XP per hour, and it's AFK. The fact you can slightly AFK this while you're using the furnace, getting the crafting XP, and it's just good money in general, this is a really good method to do. And for crafting the ruby amulet specifically, you need 34 crafting to start, but that's extremely low. For some of the other methods you could do for crafting is crafting sapphire necklaces. Same exact process, but instead of rubies, you're going to use sapphires. This only requires 20 crafting as opposed to 34 from before, and can get you around 180k GP per hour with 60k crafting XP per hour. You could start with this one if you have low crafting and then switch back to ruby amulets once you get 34. Like I said, there's several other crafting methods, and I'm just going to list them on the screen with the current GP per hour as well as the crafting level required to do it. Next up is going to be alching steel bodies, which also makes a return from last video. This method is good, requiring only 55 magic for high alchemy, but recommended 43 prayer plus for protect from melee. The idea here is going to the lava maze and the deep wildy, so you will have a risk of getting PK'd, but you're going to run through the maze, and all the way at the end of it, you're going to find a gated area that has a steel plate body spawn on every world. You can pick these up, alch them, and then hop worlds, repeating the process. Doing such a simple thing can net you around 260k GP per hour, as well as magic XP too. Next is tanning cowhide. The fact that we're in 2023 and tanning cowhides in free-to-play can still bring you profit just brings such a smile to my face because it's just such a classic thing to do. You will be starting at the Al Kharid Bank, bringing an inventory of cowhide along with GP to the tanner directly north of you. You'll have the tanner turn this into hard leather and run back to the bank, repeating these steps until you've finished. The price difference between cowhide and leather varies and is pretty small, so make sure you're paying attention when buying and selling to ensure you make a good profit. Collecting red spider eggs in the Varrock sewers can net you around 215k GP per hour. All this method involves you doing is bringing 2 energy potions and a slash weapon into the sewers, running all the way to the end to fill up your inventory on red spider eggs, teleporting out, repeating the process. If you have a low combat level, the deadly red spiders will be aggressive, so it's recommended to bring a couple pieces of food so you don't die. It's recommended to bring an air staff along with law runes and fire runes as well. The reason being is so that at the end you can just use cast teleport to Varrock, bank, and then go right back in the sewer. With how much running you have to do for less GP than other more AFK methods, this isn't entirely worth it, but if you don't have any crafting levels or 55 magic and you can't alch, then you can give this one a go. The last method before our impractical section is casting bones to bananas. This requires only 15 magic, a water staff equipped, nature, and earth runes, and lastly, an inventory full of regular bones. Casting the spell in your inventory will turn all of the bones into bananas. You might not have guessed that with the name of the spell, but surprisingly doing this can actually bring you a pretty nice profit of 250k GP per hour. To buy so many bones though to make it profitable, you do need starting capital, so look at other methods before you go to this one. I wanted to take this last part of the video to talk about misleading methods. If you were to go onto the wiki right now, or some other videos, they may have methods such as smithing rune items, mining runite ore, and high elking as the best methods for free to play. I'm even guilty of this since the first method from my last video a year ago was smithing rune items. The reason this is misleading is because of how big the requirements are to do them in the first place. Sure, if you are a player returning to the game, and you have a nice account with decent stats but no GP, you could use these methods if you don't feel like buying a bond to work your way back to getting one so you can become a member again. But if you were just to start playing the game, you should not look at these for money making at all, seeing as how with smithing rune items, it's recommended to have close to 99 smithing, which is very unrealistic for a new player. High elking items, which is currently listed as the best money making in free to play, which requires you to have starting cash at about 10 million GP. A bond is less than this, so if you have 10 million GP and you're not some sort of restricted free-to-play only account, then just buy a bond. Lastly, mining runite ore, which is over 400k GP per hour. This requires over 85 mining and is heavily botted, so you'll have a lot of competition on every world. So I think I've said all that needs to be said, and there's no need to stretch out the video more than I have to. If any of these methods helped you or you learned something new, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as that helps me out. If you want to take a chance and not be a part of the free-to-play grind life, you can try winning a bond from my Discord, as I give them away all the time. The link to my Discord is in the description, but anyway, let me know if there's any other guides you want, and see ya!